up, virtual people? Welcome to episode 96 of VCR Redux. We take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2023. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, joined as always at the last second by my co-host, film professor Ian Klink.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
And of course, we have two groovy guests on the show tonight. First up, he's the reigning New Jersey HorrorCon trivia champion and newest member of the Fandom Spotlite writing team. Maruri is back on the show.
Hey, guys.
And rounding out this righteous crew, fresh off the Blonde Ambition tour and finally back on the VCR, host of Still Fabulous, Bobby Masters, back on the show.
Shag, baby, what's up?
Thank you so much for coming back on, guys. We are here today to celebrate the spy who shagged Ian with his gold member, and more importantly, to help Mike Myers get his groove back. That's right, folks. This world needs Austin Powers 4, Shag Royale, and we're here to give it to you. But before we can fire up the fembots, we need to talk about how Austin Powers came into our lives and what we love about him. And of course, that includes everyone watching the live chat as well. So Love It First Laserdisc, Vital VHS, hit us up in the chat and let us know how Austin Powers came into your lives.
By the way, I'm upset. I gave you so many titles. You monster.
Okay. Let's get it out there right now.
I gave you.
I wanted so many of your titles. I wanted Thunder Member. I wanted Moon Member.
I gave you Die Another Shag. I gave you Licensed Shag. I gave you freaking From London with Shag. Like,
I'm telling you, I wanted Thunder Shag. I wanted Moon Member. I
gave you all those. I gave you Moon Shagging. Come on,
yeah.
And you chose. We're no longer
higher people than me, my friend.
We are no longer.
It's not up to me. I don't get to pick every little detail, but we went with Shag Royale, and I think it's all right. We're gonna make it work. We can still go to space, even though it's Shag Royale. We can still break out the Thunderballs or the Thunder Member or something, you know, in Shag Royale.
Well, Thunderballs would actually be a good sequel title. I can't.
The only limit is your imagination, and yeah, Thunderballs isn't bad now that I think about it.
Austin Powers with Thunderballs. That's a genius title.
That's not
who's singing the song.
Bad.
Who's singing the song for that one?
Shit.
That's
really not bad. But
I want
anyway.
Adele. I want Adele. I know we're pitching way too early, but I want Adele to sing Thunderballs.
Oh my God, that would be
like
fantastic.
Get out of here!
Wow,
that's
Ian out of the gate with the pitches. Right, I love it. I love it. And you know, I forgot to read. I gotta say also before I asked Bobby how he first watched Austin Powers, I gotta say there's a pitch I forgot to read last week, and it was Sean Gold of Gold's Code. And I forgot to read his pitch. It was, I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to mess this up. And this is important. He couldn't make it to the show, but he wanted me to read this pitch. It was very important to him. And give me 1 second and I'll find it. His pitch was, Mitchell takes a field trip with his class to the local aquarium only for the shark to break free. And now they must skate through the flooded aquarium to freedom. God damn, that Jaws episode could have been so much better right there. Now we got that out of the way. So Bobby, tell us about the first. Ridiculous. That's right. Every pitch is an airborne pitch, and that's why Sean Gold is a genius. But Bobby, we're here to talk about Austin Powers. Do you remember the first time you watched this monumental film?
I do, actually. I watched it on a bootleg VHS tape in the late 90s.
Wow, not how I expected.
And I watched both of them at the same, I watched both of the first two at the same time, back to back. What do I love about it? The soundtrack is fire. I gotta say, they pick some really great songs from the 60s. You got Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Jones, baby.
You got a lot of good shit. And then you got, I loved Beautiful Stranger by Madonna. That was a really good addition to the second film anyway. But
is it the Divinals? When I think about you, I touch myself.
Yeah, with the fembots.
That's the Divinals, right?
Fembots, yeah.
Yes.
That's a classic. There's a lot. Burt Bacharach. Oh God, this movie totally.
Acknowledge there was a time where Madonna, Ray of Light Madonna, was everything.
Okay, Desperately Seeking Susan Madonna was top tier. Nothing beats that out. But
Sir,
yes,
no.
There are many
no.
wonderful eras to Madonna's career.
Live
Everyone's
to
gonna have their
tell.
preference. Everyone's gonna have their
That
preference.
blue
It's like,
album cover with the white hair all slicked back and everything. Oh, come
but
on.
it's like the Yankees. Like, you know, some people are gonna like the old 20s Yankees, some people are gonna like the 2000s Yankees, some people are gonna like the 80s, you know. It's like all just kind of eras of things that people get into. Madonna's just one of those things that just like will never not be a part of pop culture. I'm convinced that there will be some like Prince, Elvis, Tupac level of stuff, even if somehow, God forbid, something happens to Madonna, like she'll have like decades worth of music left to release posthumously.
that's
But at
true.
any rate, we're, you
Sorry, I
know,
didn't mean to interrupt, Bobby. I'm sorry.
It's
No,
all
no.
good. Yeah, but soundtrack, you got good costumes. I always loved like the 1960s era, but rewatching these movies, like it's crazy, like the satire and also like the hold that this franchise had on this planet in the late 90s is insane because like Austin Powers was everywhere. Like from 97 to
True.
2002, you could not escape it.
Factual, absolutely factual. Martin, what about you? How old were you when you first saw Austin Powers?
I think I was 5.
Oh my
It
God,
was
get out
5.
of here. Oh
My
God.
God, you are a baby.
Yeah.
Holy
Younger
cow.
than me? Oh my God. I was 8 when Austin Powers came out.
I hate this world.
Yeah, I was
Chris,
like, I was 5. I
Chris,
was 5 or
let's get
6.
out of here. Let's go to the bar.
You're born no sooner than 92. Good gosh. Wow.
Yeah, my dad liked to watch Saturday Night Live,
Okay.
and at that age, I liked the physical comedy of like Chris Farley and Adam Sandler and all those guys. So, and Mike Myers. So I remember really wanting to see the movie and being like really excited. And as much as I'm obsessed with movies now, I was obsessed with movies at that age. So I remember faking sickness in like kindergarten or first grade because I just couldn't wait to 3 o'clock to go to the movies because so I faked being sick. I got picked up early from school.
I used to
My
manifest
mom,
actual sickness to get out of school to go
really?
home and watch movies. Yeah, like I would actually become ill. I wanted to watch T2 so bad when we first got it on tape that I became ill and I puked. And then I thought I had faked it. And I got like in trouble somehow for faking it. It was weird.
Actually.
I was not
my
really
life.
sick. I faked it. I went home. My mom saw through my lies, and she said, "You're not going to the movies. You're punished now." And my dad, as soon as she went to work, was like, "We're going to the movies."
Oh,
And
that's awesome. Cool, Dad.
so it
Ratted
was
him out all these years later. What's wrong with you?
it was great. It was great, and I loved it. And I was laughing. I loved the characters, the music, the all the
Were you
jokes, the
familiar with
cameos.
James Bond like at that point, like at 5 years old?
No, I wasn't. So not till I was like a teenager and I rewatched a bunch of these movies. That's where I got most of the jokes. But just like I said, the physical comedy and some of the lowbrow humor, which I still think was hilarious anyway. Like it just got me, and I loved Austin Powers. I used to have the toys and like everything growing up too.
There were toys? I fucking missed out on some shit.
There were so many Austin Powers toys. I had a life-size mini me, which isn't saying much, but it was 2 feet 11 inches.
Get the fuck out of here.
I think that's taller actually than
wow. Holy shit.
I also had I had a Dr. Evil like stuffed animal that I got from one of the vending machines. I have like this Felicity Shagwell tequila shaker that is unfortunately not on my person right now. I wish I had it on me. But also, check this shirt that I got from The Wall. Do you guys remember The Wall, the CD store?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
1997 original Austin Powers t-shirt.
Holy
here.
Wow. You know, I gotta say, this is, we usually love all the same cult stuff, Bobby, you and me. And I was like surprised that you picked Austin Powers. When I sent you the list of upcoming VCRs, you're like, oh, Austin Powers for sure. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is probably like outside of the Spice Girls, maybe the most mainstream thing that like you have fandom for that I know of at least.
It's
And I've
pure
known you for a few years
nostalgia.
now, you know.
Pure
It's funny. I just
nostalgia.
like I would have never guessed you had like a fucking mini-me doll, like a life-size mini-me. Like that's amazing. At any rate, Ian, how, you know, you're about the same age as me. I'm guessing you saw the first film in theaters.
You know, I honestly I can't remember. I do remember being in the theater and seeing the poster. I do remember that. I do remember seeing there was a big old standee outside when I want to say I was going to see Titanic. Does that match up? Does that
I
make
think
sense?
it's
Yes. Oh my
close. Possible.
God.
Yeah, it's close
Okay,
enough,
so
probably.
I
They
remember
were
I went
both
to,
In
1997.
Iowa.
That's crazy.
Sioux City, Iowa. So
Yeah, in
I don't
Iowa, that
remember if I
makes
went to
sense. Not to like, I grew up in the Midwest too, so like that would make
yeah,
sense
well,
where I
that's what I
grew
was
up as
saying.
well.
I don't remember if I went to the theater to see it. If I did, it was to probably see it on the second run. But what I remember the most
Okay.
is that Christmas, my mom gave that movie to my sister. And I love my mom, but she had this habit of buying us movies that she really wanted to watch. So like
I respect that. I
yeah,
respect
I do
the
too.
shit out of
I
that.
honestly, and I know she's watching right now, Mom. I know that this is, but like, Mom would buy. She bought me Independence Day because she wanted to watch it, and then she started watching it all the time.
That just makes her even cooler in my book.
I know,
So
right?
shout out
And
to
then so
Mama
I
Klink.
remember
She's a
she
core
got
part of our audience, by the way. She watches
yeah,
every episode.
so she got Austin Powers for my sister, and then we just started. I remember Christmas Day watching it, and as a film person, I'll be honest, I did not see any of the James Bond movies until I was in high school. So
That is insane. That is
I know
insane.
I just didn't. You know, it was one of those things of everybody would talk about it, and then you kind of go like, "Well, it can't be that cool," or you know, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Now it makes sense. I would do the same
Well,
thing.
I don't. But see, I'm a huge James Bond fan now. I mean,
I
so
know. Now you're a way bigger James Bond fan than I could
yeah,
ever
that's what I'm
be.
saying. So like after I watched all of the James Bond movies, Austin Powers became, I mean, 1,000 times funnier. Now I laughed at it before, but then I really got it. Then you know, after you watch, you know, I say the same thing about, you know, if you really want to enjoy Blazing Saddles, watch westerns. If you want to enjoy Airplane, watch Airport. Like it makes the movies, you know, it's cleansing your palate before, you know, you actually eat the cheeseburger. Like you actually like take a mint, breathe out a little bit, and then eat the burger. You know, that's kind of what it was
Well,
like after watching all the James Bond movies to see what Mike Myers actually did with this movie, which is
I
spot
mean,
on. It really is.
I can
It's
understand that.
crazy. I had the kind of a similar experience to that. I hadn't seen any of the James Bond movies by the time I first saw Austin Powers, but I did see Spice World. And when
I hate
Elizabeth
that. What is it?
when
I
Elizabeth
love
Hur
you.
okay, wait, okay, hear me out. So Elizabeth Hurley, remember she gets out of the water and she's in the bathing suit, and then so is Mike Myers.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, well, Victoria Beckham wore that outfit in Spice World, so I thought, oh, they're spoofing Spice World.
That's
They
fast.
might have been. They could have been.
Maybe.
You know, it's quite possible, but they are very close in time. I think they both came out when I was in 7th grade.
I will say this though, I do remember going to see The Spy Who Shagged Me at the drive-in.
That's awesome.
I do remember that. They were playing at the Highway 51 drive-in. You know, that's where I saw that one, and I remember going to see Goldmember in the movie theater, but that drive-in for The Spy Who Shagged Me was pretty cool.
Can we all agree that Goldmember was like bottom tier?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's something
Yeah.
to address up front. That like,
I was going to talk about that. The jokes, there wasn't anything new. I think that
well, here's the thing, right? Like, they
It
found
didn't
some
hit as
stuff.
hard at all.
no.
Well, like, you know, the things that they repeat in the second film, like half of them worked, you know, still, and then like half of them really didn't work. And the ones that did work, they didn't repeat in the third one, and the ones that didn't, they did repeat. I know it's
Yeah.
like kind of a play on words here, but like and the zip it and the zippy long stocking and all that stuff, like that in the first movie, that was an improv scene. That wasn't in the script. They just like came up with that on the fly. And you know, it kind of works in that sense. But when you take like an improv sketch and you just stretch it out forever, it becomes like bad SNL. It was just like, you know, it was just like one of those bad SNL episodes where they just like didn't have a good host, they didn't have a good like musical guest, they didn't have good sketches, like the writers didn't bring their A material that week, you know. Just it happens. Like everyone has a shit week at work at the same time, you know. And that's kind of how the third movie feels. But we'll get more to that in a bit. Say it again.
No, I was just saying the third movie like feels the most like, even though like I feel like that's a lot of the joke, is it feels like it's making fun of like product placement the most. Also, like it's just a big
well, the product placement
doing the Wayne's World thing.
Josie and the Pussycats. That's the product placement movie.
And Wayne's World 1 has the great scene ever. You know, one of the greatest scenes ever. Like, I just won't sell out. He bites the Dorito. Like, it's my choice.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's the choice of a new generation. Drinks the Pepsi, like wearing all the Reebok gear and shit. Like, I love it.
Well, it's also okay.
And Josie and the Pussycats is great too.
I will also say this, you know, and I do believe this, right? When the first Austin Power movies came out, it was a movie that you discovered. Like the world discovered it on its own. Like, you know, you went to your friend's house, you rented the movie at Blockbuster, and you like the world discovered all this stuff. By the time Goldmember came out, I mean, how many of you hated that friend who kept hated that guy who kept
became the Arnold impersonation, the thing that like everyone would do terribly, you know, and Jim Carrey was that for a while too. Like the impression that everyone would do so poorly, but everyone thought they were good at it. Like Borat became like, you know.
Oh my God.
Your teachers, and I'm a teacher, I know how uncool this is. When your teachers are doing Austin Powers in front of the class, like game over, man. Like game over.
Game over. Yeah, you've lost the cool edge, you know.
Done.
You become too mainstream.
Hey, we got a test today. Yeah, baby. You know,
that's true. It was like on Sports Center, someone would hit a home run and you'd be like, yeah, baby, like Ken Griffey to the upper deck. All right. Like it's true. It was like, it became, you know, it really, I mean, that's a mark of success, of course, when anything you do infiltrates pop culture to that level.
Which is why if they made one that came out now, I honestly and truthfully, I really think the timing for a fourth Austin Powers, it is a good time to do it because there's been enough time.
Everything else is being rebooted. Why not Austin Powers?
There's been enough time. And did any of you see the Pentaveret?
The what?
No, I don't even know what that is.
On Netflix, the Pentaveret, Mike Myers TV show that he did.
His new like show, right?
Oh, I am sorry. I am a fan of that. What? Because he took that little thing from So I Married an Axe Murderer, where him doing the Scottish voice that he always does as his dad. You know, he's like, you know, there's a secret form of society known as the Pentaveret. You know, who's in this Pentaveret? The Rothschilds, the Queen, the Colonel. You know, like he does this whole routine about, you know, this Pentaveret rules the whole world. And if you get a chance, I won't go into the whole explanation, but it's Mike Myers doing what was great about the first Austin Powers, like him doing these characters like Fat Bastard, and he's playing he's pretty much playing every single character. But what I would call Austin Powers 3.5, where the Love Guru kind of failed, I think the Pentaveret kind of makes up for it.
Okay, I didn't see the Love Guru because that just didn't seem like a fun time at the movies.
That was made after 1987, so Chris has no interest in it.
Hey, Austin Powers was made after 1987.
You got called out on it.
Yeah, but it's all right. Fair point. Point taken. I will get to my first time watching Austin Powers and how I came to love these movies in a minute. But I do want to say hi to everyone in the live chat. I see Oscar Toronzo in there. Gold's Code, aka Sean Gold, says, not to make you feel old, but if this movie was made today, Austin Powers would be from 1993. You'd wake up and ask for the groovy rollerblades, baby. Gosh, that is kind of depressing, but true. I see Miyagi Do Forever in there, Monica Thyman, Carlos FM. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Let's see. Sean Gold says Chris Stiles is a man of his word. Well, I told you I'd read that pitch eventually. Oscar Toronzo though says, love these movies, funny, corny, yes, but love the dry humor. Throwback to the swinging 60s, love the music and Tom Cruise, Danny DeVito, Kevin Spacey cameos. The cameos were pretty good. I will say that is not enough to save the third film, but it was at least.
That's what I was gonna say. The funniest part was actually getting John Travolta. It's like, why didn't you just have John Travolta do the Goldmember the entire movie? That would have been hilarious.
Entire movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is I think eventually these movies do collapse under the weight of Mike Myers wanting to play every character and add another character that he can play every time. You know, like it was unique in the first film. He plays the hero and the villain. In the second film, he plays Fat Bastard as well. And then the third film, he plays, you know, the hero, the villain, Fat Bastard, and Goldmember. Thank you. But I think it just, and it becomes too big. Like even those cameos, to your point, Oscar, they're a lot of fun. But like it just, you know, you hear about these movies like Batman and Robin. They say like that was the greatest party ever when we were making it. Every celebrity was coming out to check out the Batman set, and it's like it sounds like they weren't really that focused on making a great movie, you know. And that's kind of what happens. But
as long as we're on the topic of cameos, what are your guys' favorite? Because mine is Kristen Johnston as Ivana Humpalot.
Oh, you know, it's hard to not say Fabiana Udenio, who plays a lot of vagina in the first film. She's from Summer School. She plays Anna Maria. I love her. Oh God, she's one of the greats.
Does Will Ferrell count?
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But this is before Will Ferrell hit, though. That's
I didn't even know who he was at the time.
Yeah, he was just starting off on SNL.
Rob Lowe was amazing though, as young number 2.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe's great. Oh God, there's a lot. Tom Arnold is amazing in the first one. That was a great cameo. Like, yeah, buddy, you show that turd who's boss.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, have a courtesy flush there, huh?
Yeah.
What did you eat?
Yeah. Yeah, Tom Arnold just slays it. It's tough to pick a favorite, but anyway, I don't want to leave anyone out of the live chat. So Sean Gold of Gold's Code makes an interesting point. He says MTV had a special where Austin Powers hosted it like a 60s show, and it was dope. And that's true. That's actually how the character started. It was like supposed to be this sort of like joke pop band, Blues Brother-y kind of thing. And I don't think it worked that way, but Mike Myers' wife encouraged him to develop it into a screenplay, which then became The International Man of Mystery we all know and love. Also in the chat, Kyle Camper, I love the costumes, the fashion, the culture, the colors. Can't remember when I first saw the original, but I've always loved Austin Powers. 60s and 70s are my favorite. Well then, yeah, I could definitely see you loving those things. Again, Kyle Camper, the man in the background, running things for us here at VCR Redux. We'd be lost without him. Oscar says I was 17 when it came out, the right age for it. That sounds about right. I was about 13, also a good age. Sean Gold says Mini-Me came to the club one night. I'll get back to the chat in a bit. But to move things along, my first time seeing Austin Powers, like I said, I was in 7th grade. It was honestly a fluke, a 50-50 shot that I would see the movie or not. But a friend's mom ended up taking us out to see it, and I liked it, but it really didn't connect with me until home video. Once I saw it on, I guess, VHS, and eventually I would get one of the first films I got on DVD. But then it just became like a repeat staple, just one of those go-to movies, and you know, for good reason. It just has a million. It's definitely one of the most quotable comedies of the 90s, and in a painful way that you'll hear all the bad impressions, but still. Also in an endearing way. And I feel like I'm getting a weird echo. I hope I'm the only one hearing that, though. Any rate, the sequels, The Spy Who Shagged Me, I think is probably the best of the trilogy. I don't know. Am I the only one who would say that?
I agree.
Like of the whole entire series, you think that that's the best one?
Yeah, well, there's only 3 movies.
That's hard to say. I would. It is the best one of the sequels. Yes, I mean, but I think the reason I think we love Shag Me more is because of Fat Bastard.
That might be true. Mini Me
It's
is
kind of like,
also
okay, it's like,
great.
okay. Fat bastard to me, and this is a brave sentence, but fat bastard to me is I'm your father to Empire Strikes Back. Take that out. Is it really that good of a movie?
I didn't really care for
Well.
Fat Bastard that much.
Really? Oh my gosh, that was all we would ever joke about in class.
He was gross.
I mean, Fat Bastard was good, maybe not great, but Mini Me, I think, was like almost the star of The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah.
Vern Troyer would not be that famous right now if it was not for Austin Powers too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this movie definitely put Vern. He was like he was a household name after this movie.
Yeah.
No question about it. And it was, I was surprised they went the way they did in killing off Elizabeth Hurley and immediately just like moving on to Heather Graham. Like, I get it. Bond has a new girl every time, and you want to be canonical, but it sort of like almost ruins the first movie in a sense for me.
The way they killed her off, making her a fembot, that did kind of ruin it for me too, because like it just kind of makes it like, okay, then what was the first movie?
Yeah.
You know, the part I didn't get was Mimi Rogers. I never understood why Mimi Rogers as the mom wasn't there. It's like Mimi Rogers could have been the main girl instead of Elizabeth Hurley.
Well, I definitely agree there. I love Mimi Rogers. And she was one of my favorite parts of the first movie too. Yeah, I don't know. To me, there's the time. Maybe it's just because I love time travel movies, but like the time travel element really adds a level, I think, of fun to the Austin Powers movies, and it has that Back to the Future 2 quality of like going back into the 60s. It's sort of like going back into the original movie, even though the original movie took place in the 90s. I don't know. There's something about it that feels right. And then doing the 70s and Goldmember, just wasn't as fun as doing the 60s,
I'll be honest, I didn't like Heather Graham.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to Heather Graham, honestly. That was my introduction.
Well, mine was probably like others. I mean, I was Boogie Nights, but
License to Drive all the way.
See, I don't remember her being in License to Drive. I remember that girl in License to Drive not being Heather Graham, if that makes sense.
Oh, I saw License to Drive so many times. As soon as I saw Boogie Nights, I was like, that's the girl from License to Drive.
Yeah, like that. Well, that's why I say, like, I will say this. I probably watched Austin Powers. Like, I was at the right age, right? We were what, 13?
Yeah.
12, 13, something like that, where, you're watching pretty much movies all the time, nonstop. And I think, and I feel like at that age, I could watch Austin Powers like over and over again. Like, I can't do that now. Like, now if I watch Austin Powers, I'm good for, another 3 years. But like then it's like, oh, I'm gonna watch that tomorrow. Oh, I'm gonna watch that tomorrow again. Like I could rewatch that and laugh hysterically over and over again. And so I kind of like the first movie so well that I think that also didn't help when it went to the sequels. That it just couldn't live up to that in a weird way, except for, like I said, for Fat Bastard, which I thought was the funniest thing ever.
I think the first film has heart, and not that the sequels don't. The third one, not so much, but the first two really have like a heart that is maybe not apparent on the first watch, but you look underneath it and it's like, oh no, there's actually some sweetness to these first two movies that they definitely didn't recapture in the third one.
How often does that happen though? I mean, they had nothing to risk with the first one, if that makes any sense. I know everybody's always like, oh well, everybody risks doing the first one. Well, you don't have a built-in audience. Nobody knew if Austin Powers would be funny. And
it didn't do well at the box office. It did okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it didn't. And Wayne, it was Wayne's World. That was Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Wayne, he's doing it on his own without.
Yeah, it didn't do Wayne's World money, the first one. Like the second one did. but the first one had to do that on video, had to kind of catch on there, and it is sort of like a home video kind of movie, you know.
Yeah.
The second one's a lot more theatrical. It's got, you know, way bigger budget. Like it looks like they spent 10 times the money they spent, you know, on the first one, on the second.
Well, to get Steven Spielberg to come in and be like, I think my Oscars friends here say I don't need to change anything. You know, like you got Steven Spielberg to do the second one. Come on now. Spielberg did it.
So
Say it again.
showing up cameo.
Oh, you're breaking up there. Sorry about that. So let's see. We're actually at about pitch time anyways. So this is not the easiest thing to bring back. It's not the hardest thing that we've tried to bring back on VCR Redux, but there's definitely some do's and don'ts, some things you want to see, some things you don't want to see. I'm kind of glad we didn't just get another one of these rammed out right away in like 2003 or 2004, you know. But at the same time, my guess as to what they would have done, I might not have been found so problematic. Like they did the 60s, they did the 70s. Now I feel like you have to do the 80s, you know? And like he would stick out like a sore thumb, maybe even more in the 80s than he would today, which is like sort of what works about the character, you know? The character has to be sort of a fish out of water in doses, you know? It's weird. You can't overdo that because then you're just doing the first film, the gags from the first film again. Like, you know, he's playing a record on playing a CD on a record play, you know?
Well,
like, that's not going to work.
Although, would it be funny to watch Austin Powers in 2020? Because let's be honest, 2020 is more conservative than any other era that Austin Powers was ever a part of. And
would it be Austin Powers in the pandemic though?
Well, I don't want to do that, but
yeah, that's not fun.
But think about all of the crap that James Bond franchise is getting. You know,
it's getting crap. I didn't even know that.
Oh, big time. Yeah, you know, the misogyny of James Bond, the people are really coming after the sexuality of James Bond. Why is it a man? Why is it Caucasian James Bond? Does it have to be 007? Can it be there's all these things, and I actually think it'd be funny if Austin Powers has to go through that too, especially like, let's think about this. He's battling somebody named Thunderballs. It's called Thunderballs. I don't care what anybody says. It's Austin.
I like it. Okay, Thunderballs.
Austin Powers has Thunderballs.
Oh, I like that.
And right away, Thunderballs gets canceled. Right away, like right off the bat. Austin Powers, like somebody comes in and breaks it off. It's like, nope. Sorry, can't do this. And it's like, it's Austin Powers is doing a movie about Austin Powers, and he gets canceled. Like I think 100% Austin Powers.
I don't know if you want to. I get it, like, and everything you're saying is true, and they even did some jokes like that, but they even cut those out of the old movies. Like there's a deleted scene where he like asks for a stewardess, and then Sherry O'Terry is like, yeah, we're called flight attendants now, or something. He's like, bring on the sexy stews, man.
I remember that.
Maybe it was in the movie, but I think it was cut out. I think it was on the DVD. So I mean, I don't know if there's enough in there to propel a whole movie. I think, honestly, the trick is, I think, finding the right villain, like in a James Bond movie, sort of like villain setting, you build it out from there. There's not really, I mean, like Austin Powers doesn't really have character arcs. Like maybe in the first film, he's got a little bit of an arc, but like he doesn't have an arc at all in the second movie. But the second movie is Indiana Jones. Just like, well, I'm here and I'm going to save the day.
But I would love to see Mike Myers walking in with a big giant set of just massive cannonballs, just drooping pants. Like that would be a fun character. Well, and look,
Thunderballs could be anything, and that's what I like about it.
Look, it's so unfortunate you guys have not seen the Pentaveret, because really he goes all out in that. And to be honest, Mike Myers does a 5-minute fully nude frontal scene, like full on frontal nudity. Like,
is it worth looking at?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that, but you know, I'm sure that people paused their Netflix as they went along. You know, it's not VHS of Fast Times, but it's, you know, it is what it is. But you know, they literally, like, he went everything he couldn't do in an Austin Powers movie because it was a studio movie. I think he did in the Pentaveret, and so I really do think Mike Myers would do a lot more for an Austin Powers now, especially like if it is on Netflix, right? Like, or on Prime or wherever, you know, that they would put this movie. I think he would go for a lot of that. And if you had him going that hard with a, you know, commenting on the cancel culture, or Austin Powers can't be, you know, well, yeah, I get what you're saying though, Chris. Yeah, they did talk about you can't say these things anymore. It's 1990. You can't take, but obviously the 90s weren't as sensitive as we want to, you know, people want to maybe say that they were. I mean, for gosh sakes, this is at the height of the Clinton scandal when this movie came out. I mean, come on, like you know, the 90s were not that sensitive.
I mean, you're making some points there. Anyway, it just doesn't, I mean, it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, to be honest. Like, it doesn't sound like a, you know, like Austin Powers time travels back to the 60s to, you know, it's just like Austin Powers gets canceled. It's like, oh, that doesn't sound like
well, when you word it like that, you know.
You know, like I mean, they're, you know, it's almost better if like someone near him gets canceled and he has to like show them the way or something, you know, you buddy cop him with somebody that's like not, you know, that's the thing is the character, yeah, he's from the free love swinging 60s, but he was always respectful to women. Like, you know, he never like objectifies them or anything like that. So you don't really kind of want to like do the Sarah Connor Dark Fate thing where you like, you know, make them stupider than they were 40 years ago, or 20 years ago in this case, 30 years ago.
Come back and kill Austin Powers. That's what I want.
I mean, that's, you know, you could have somehow some evil Austin. That's not beyond the
hang on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Did I cut you off?
I don't know, maybe my internet went out there for a second. I don't know.
We're having some audio issues, and by the way, Martin lost power, everybody, so that's why we lost him for a minute.
Yeah.
So obviously we're hoping we're hoping he returns. Yeah.
Well, so if we want to do really funny, I will say this, like, for instance, who would be?
Oh, you froze. Yeah, we're having all kinds of internet issues today.
We got to time travel back to fix it.
Yeah, I know. See, seriously, someone go back in time and fix Ian's Wi-Fi.
Damn, wow. I wanted to answer his question in the meantime, but
he's frozen like Austin Powers. Well, that's a good time for me to remind everyone in the chat and watching, hit us with your pitches. What are the things you do or don't want to see in an Austin Powers movie? I mean, I usually pre-bake my ideas, or I used to, but I like to come in these with a blank slate now, and it is just kind of hard. The only thing I can say is that I really want Austin Powers to go to space. That's where James Bond went, and I know he did get a little bit of space.
Wasn't he already in space? He was already in space.
Not like enough. Like, I need the full-on space like flick. I need. Oh, we lost Ian now too. Jesus, it's just you and me now, Bobby.
Okay, here we go.
So we're gonna have to do our best. We're down to yeah, it's a power play on VCR Redux. We got a couple people in the penalty box. But yeah, he did go to space, but I don't know. I think, you know, this James Bond way of like creating new villains, and you need to create someone memorable. I just feel like you need some kind of like space threat villain. I know that's super vague. That's like super, super vague. But I mean, I'd like to see a villain that's not played by Austin Powers or not played by Mike Myers.
Mike Myers.
Yeah.
So like Dr. Evil would have no place in this upcoming film in your mind?
Oh, no, Dr. Evil would absolutely be there. I mean, you're stuck with the fact that him and Dr. Evil are brothers. That's like not that much fun. but maybe it could be interesting to team them up a little bit and have them, you know, sort of begrudgingly work together to topple some even greater threat.
We're all having
Interesting.
internet tonight. Sorry about that.
Oh, he's
I was gonna
back.
say, do you have a wardrobe change now? But no, it's just your background that
Yeah,
changed,
it's
of
my
course.
background. I had to get on my phone. I don't know what's going on tonight.
But I was
I'm
thinking,
on my phone too right now. if that
well,
makes
what
you
you
feel
missed,
better.
My internet
Ian,
went. My internet just went out. I don't know what the heck.
Dr. Evil does not want us to continue this
Right?
franchise. He's
It's
hacking
the
into
pentaverate.
us, I think.
talked about the pentaverate. You know?
Your internet will be restored for $1 million.
No.
Oh,
Oh my gosh! And your teacher did that too. We
Of
all
course,
remember that
yeah.
teacher. Jeez.
Yes.
I don't
It
think
is a-
any of my teachers did that, but okay.
You're younger. Shush. The Austin Powers train had left. All right.
Back in my day, our teachers were trying to watch the same pop culture as us, and it was terrible, and we loved it.
We loved it, and it was the best.
Back in my day, the teachers showed you videos on laser discs.
But well, they did show Austin Powers on the cart with the TV.
The TV cart. Oh, the
They did
TV
do
cart was like great times. They'd
the best.
my
That
middle
was
school, they
like
would
the
open
Bill
up
Nye
walls in between
TV.
rooms. They would have a 19-inch TV, and they would have 200 people in this giant room all watching this 19-inch
Right.
TV,
That
and
is
we
so
thought it was fantastic.
So I don't know. I don't know where you guys are kind of going with it, but I would love, I would love with Audrey Plaza to be with Austin Powers. I think she's a good modern day comedian, but
She's great. You don't think she's a little young for Mike Myers, though?
what? Because Heather Graham was, like, come on now.
I mean,
She was more
closer.
age appropriate.
More age
at the
appropriate. I think like
time.
Kate Beckinsale.
Why don't we just stop all the games in this world and actually get Beckham? Like
Victoria.
Oh,
get Victoria Beckham.
Bobby would be okay with it.
Like just like, can we stop all these games? Because that's basically
Awesome.
what's going on in this world.
A little spice for Austin Powers. That's pretty good. I'm into that.
I'm
Any of the Spice Girls, I'd be okay with it.
It's British. There you go.
It's British, got a connection. That's why I said Kate Beckinsale too. But I was saying I want to see it go more to space because it hasn't really gone to space. I want like a space threat, and I want Austin and Dr. Evil to have to team up begrudgingly to take out a bigger threat. Like I think that sort of like
explaining part 3.
yeah, but part 3 was so bad. Like, and do they even really team up? Do they really team up against Goldmember? Or do they just discover that they're brothers? Like, yeah, I mean, you're stuck with that brother thing. I don't want to bring Michael Caine back because I don't think that worked in the third movie either.
Oh, really?
I didn't do it for me. It was like they tried to do this Last Crusade thing and failed,
Yeah.
It didn't have that Last Crusade swagger to it. And like with them being brothers, it ruins the idea that you could have ever met Dr. Evil's father one day, and that would have been really interesting. It's just like, okay, yeah, I guess they have to be linked forever somehow. So now you're stuck with that, you have to acknowledge that maybe they're, learning to work their, issues out. Like, I think that, as weird as it is probably the center of the story, And again, I don't think you need Michael Caine for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do think now with a post Daniel Craig kind of Bondian world, I do think you could take Austin Powers and go places. Like, you could actually do a very, not saying that they weren't A-list budgets to begin with, but you could have Austin Powers all across the world, like a Daniel Craig Bond movie, and I think it would be great. Like getting great locations, getting, different place, just making it bigger, I think would actually add to the humor a little bit too.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I'm always in favor of going Hawaiian style. I'm not gonna lie.
You always want that. You always want something in Hawaii.
I'm just saying it's not bad. And you know, folks, we have coming in right now Sean Gold here to save the day. That's right. Oh my God. Cue the Ultimate Warrior theme song because he's coming in, folks. He's gonna save the show here, taking over from Martin, who's lost power.
I am
coming in.
American Sean Gold here. Get out of here.
That's right. Put your hands together at home, folks.
Daniel
Sean
LaRusso's
Gold, you
gonna
too
fight.
can get on VCR if you pitch well enough.
Daniel LaRusso's gonna fight. Yes, I had to come and save the show. We didn't have Mickey. We don't have Dustin. This episode's making me feel as old as Ian looks. I have to come in here. We have to do it right. Austin Powers was a great hero of the time that needed him, and kids today don't even understand anything about it. So we're gonna pitch and we're gonna do it.
We're gonna do it. What do you got? What do you want to see in an Austin Powers sequel, forquel, if that's a term?
Obviously, Dr. Evil hatches a plan in Cincinnati to take over the world.
Oh, yes.
It is up to the preps.
I like what I'm smelling here.
The preps are going to realize this plan. So Austin Powers has to go to suburbia in the 90s, which is very hard to be undercover, especially in Cincinnati. Learn to skate, team up with Mitchell, go to Devil's Backbone, and save the world. Done.
All right, I love everything about that. And we're
You've thought
done
about
now.
this a lot.
Done. Done. Okay, this is your time to bring up the Airborne reunion. Chris, take it away.
Yes, that's right. Airborne reunion this summer, folks. Airborne Movie Experience on Instagram. You better follow it. If you don't know about it, you better ask somebody. Literally, it's going to be one style and time.
You all get down there. You all spend this money. You all buy every poster there ever was, every lobby card, all this, and 4 people show up.
No, sir.
Well, the mother of one of the people that is at the convention. So
if 4 people show up, then I have a very good chance at winning the race down Devil's Backbone. Let me just say that. There will be live skating, location touring.
Ian, we are doing a GoFundMe, and we're just saying that you have some sort of life-threatening disease so that the internet pays for you to go to this. And you're going to accept it. You're going to smile.
I will gladly sit at the table with it saying literally, Airborne sucks. Don't change my mind.
But we all know that the disease has taken over your mind, so it's okay. You're going to have Snake. You're going to have the guy in the classroom. You're going to have the teacher. It's going to be great. And we're going to have you straight from Cincinnati right to your heart.
So I know Ian well enough to know that thou doth protest Airborne a little too much, and I raise suspicion. But getting back to Austin Powerland and everything you said, actually, I love that. The idea of Austin Powers time traveling now, but having to go back to the 90s, something about that actually seems more fun than like doing the 80s, which even though I'm an 80s guy and I totally love everything 80s.
The 90s is the new 80s, man. Remember 1997? Yeah. Ooh, remember 97? Remember the Tamagotchis? Think about Austin Powers with the Tamagotchi.
Remember the Pogs?
Austin Powers doing the Macarena. And it just doesn't look good at all.
It looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic.
It looks amazing. That would be the opening credits. Come on, that would be the opening credits.
Oh,
that
totally.
would be actually. I think you could have a lot of fun with this.
Would be right there with them, including Beckham. There you go, right there. That is the title sequence.
And you know something?
Genius. It's genius.
We could even find out that Dr. Evil is not brother. His mom had a little fling with Austin's dad. But there's somehow that wasn't it. He could have been wrong. I'm just saying they don't have.
He could be on Mari. He could be on Mari and.
Yes, great opening. He opens on Mari.
Genius. See that's what it is. See,
we're back in the 90s. We got Mari. We got the Spice Girls.
Collaborate.
This is starting to cook. Now, who's your villain? What kind of Bond villain can we apply to the Austin Powers world?
Jaws.
That's balls.
What? Thunderballs. Okay, so explain Thunderballs to me, Ian. Pitch it.
Thunderballs is a guy who took
lightning to the balls and he was given a power.
Just something like radioactive Viagra pill. All right. And his balls just became so huge. And I hate myself for pitching this, but I want the title Thunderballs.
I hate you too, but I love it.
I do, but I want I want it to be called Austin Powers with Thunderballs. Like I just want that title. I
See,
want
that
that.
makes it sound like a buddy team up, like he teams up with the guy named Thunderballs, which I'm also okay with, especially as long as they race down Devil's Backbone.
Exactly. What about Austin Powers and Beyond Thunderballs?
Ooh, that's not
Beyond
bad.
Thunderballs.
Yeah.
That's not bad either. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's good, actually.
But it has to have rollerblading. It has to take place in the 90s, and it has to have an homage to certain 90s era movies. I
See,
like the Double O Kid.
A rollerblade scene in this. That would make sense. I would totally get
I'm totally down.
With the
I don't
Double
know.
O
What do you think,
Kid.
Bobby? Do you think traveling back to the 90s would work?
I mean, I guess so. You kind of have to. Could you imagine him in the Millennium, like taking place after the franchise even started?
Yeah, that would be
Oh no,
like...
Austin Powers on Y2K, Austin Powers on MySpace.
Oh my god, come on. Having Austin Powers sing, 1999, by Prince. Come on, that would be pretty good at the very end.
If he's partying like it's 1999 in 1999.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, that could work, So who plays Thunderballs then?
And Will Ferrell shows up as that character who died, and he gets to say,
He's still alive now. Yeah.
No, but he says, I get to see dead people. Come on now.
I don't get it. I see dead people. Will Ferrell says that?
The Sixth Sense? No, Austin Powers says it because he sees Will Ferrell's character.
See,
yes. Okay, another 90s thing. All right.
So you make an homage to all that. So you have you can also have the McRib in it, because why not? You can have why
so Eric Ridgway in the chat has an interesting point. So according to Ian, Austin Powers teabags a vat of toxic sludge to get Thunderballs. I don't know what's happening anymore.
That's beautiful.
So I'll spin on that, right? Because I think Eric Ridgway brings up an interesting point. It is a little outside the Austin Powers maybe universe, but the guy Gold member, he had his stuff dipped in gold, right? So
yeah.
Like I was thinking somehow something like that. Some guy got like some Tom Savini gun, some fucking dick gun,
the cod piece
or something like that.
From Dusk Till Dawn, the that little thing he had.
And actually, Tom Savini, now that you think about it, would not be bad as a villain in an Austin Powers movie.
As long as he plays the same character as he did from Dusk Till Dawn, with the jacket and
Sex
the gun.
Machine.
Yeah, Sex Machine, exactly.
It's
but he's
just
very
Austin
subtle.
Powers versus Sex Machine, who is now known as Thunderballs.
Exactly. See, that could be it. Two go in, one come out.
Or some guy who's got like a shotgun on his crotch, or something, a rocket launcher, something.
A rocket in the pocket. That's what the villain.
A space laser. I don't know. He can hook up anything to his balls and it'll power.
Has Kristen Wiig train kind of gone by?
The Kristen Wiig train. I don't know. I think she's great. I think she's awesome.
I feel like that's pulled off. Yeah.
Has it cooled off? Because she'd be a good partner for Austin Powers. I feel.
I could see that. I could see where you're.
I could also see her being a young Frau, or like someone working on the evil side, one of the many villain henchmen.
I did love me some Frau Farbizna. She was a great character.
She was a great character. Yeah.
You travel back in time and she looked exactly the same.
Interesting. Someone made an interesting point about what someone asked in the chat. What do you do with Mini Me? And that is an interesting, tough one to tackle, because I think Vern Troyer's not with us anymore, right?
You'd have to have Mega Me. You'd have to cast it as a new character.
It would have to be a jumbo size. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Like someone that's like 7'7", someone that's giant and ginormous.
So you've got Mega Me, you've got Thunderballs, you've got everything great that's from the 90s. It's actually a pretty solid structure here, solid pieces to play with. Rather, that didn't come out right.
Not come out at all. Let
me VCR rewind that one. You know what I mean? Solid parts here. Solid parts to build with, ingredients to cook with, you know what I mean? What's your big third act ending though? How do you wrap it all up? How do you take down Thunderballs? Is Mega Me just squish him? That's not very interesting.
No, how do you take him down? That's
what could fight Mega Me? These are the questions that my mind ponders, at least.
What's
big enough to fight Mega Me?
Oh, come on. If it's going to be in the 90s, you got to have Austin Powers basically do a Power Rangers.
And it's going to morph?
Yeah. And they create this big. So imagine if you get, okay, hear me out. You get Austin Powers and you get a bunch of other spies to do like Rangers, and they create the ultimate shagging like Ultra Bot.
So is this like an Eyes Wide Shut like situation?
No, this is a more phenomenal situation. I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
What?
You said a giant Shag Fest.
No, Shag.
No, a giant Shag robot,
Shag
which
robot.
is like almost weirder, maybe.
Like, no.
No, they're gonna have 5 different Zords. I don't know what kind of animals. They're gonna come together. They're gonna have a rocking guitar soundtrack with a lot of electronics and sparks and neon lasers.
Although Bobby, it's
Go,
funny you
go,
say that.
Austin Powers.
At the Pentaveret, the reason he does the full frontal is he's basically in an Eyes Wide Shut orgy scene. So I mean, there you go. I mean,
It's coming full circle. All right, I'll take it.
Wow.
No pun
Okay.
intended.
As long as it has the guitar riffs, I'm happy. Okay, let's go with it.
Oh, he can attend the premiere of Showgirls and every great 90s thing that we love.
The worst.
I don't know. I think if you figure out a cool third act, something, you know, maybe space related, maybe not, maybe it's Hawaiian style, but, you know, something large in scale.
Chris, he already went to space. You are so wanting to erase Goldmember. You just want to erase that movie.
It's gone, all right?
I mean, we
That's
all
it.
do.
We're gonna retcon
Honestly,
it.
it's terrible. I've only seen it once, and that was enough. More than enough.
I think it should open in the way Toxic Avenger 4 opens, is like, Austin Powers was a movie in 1997, and then a great sequel was made in 1999. Then no other real sequels were made. This is the real threequel, you know? The Lloyd Kaufman way, goddammit. Just have the balls to say what you mean and mean what you say.
Instead of just starting it off big, like, oh, we don't remember that. It was a dream. It was a dream. I mean, I don't really remember it.
Yeah, just like Dallas. You could just make it like Dallas. And
The last season of Roseanne.
Yeah, yeah, the last season of Roseanne, exactly.
Until you came up with the concept of Maury, I was thinking like you could totally pull a Halloween. It's like, weren't they brothers? No, that was just something people made up. You know,
the exposition.
Maury's more fun than
wasn't there a cult? No, that was just a cheap movie cash-in. Wasn't there a Thorn trilogy? No, stop saying it. I'm telling you what it is. There was just one.
Every time my roommate Steve says they should have explained this more, I bring up the Cult of Thorn and the runes in Halloween 6, and he's like, "Wait a minute, you're right. They don't need to explain everything."
Hartnett? What about Josh Hartnett? California.
Barbershop was right there. But I mean, I don't know. I think if there's anything we missed out, you know, there's not many pitches in the chat, at least not that I saw, because usually our big source for pitches is Sean Cole, and here he is live in the flesh for you. Like Thunderlips in the flesh, baby. But I mean, I don't know. I think there's roughly at least enough material to start with. And there is rumors of an Austin Powers 4 with Mike Myers coming back, so hopefully they make it and they make it a good one. I don't know. But before we wrap things up officially, is there anything you guys have got coming up in the works you want to let the people at home know about? Ian, articles, Sean, any club happenings, screenplays, Bobby, any interviews?
How can I top an impromptu surprise appearance on VCR Redux?
I mean, that is the calendar event of the year.
Pretty much. It's the social event of the summer, and it's just about to be spring.
It's like a 360 without a bounce. I call it a liquid Drano. It's totally styling.
No, I mean, just this week I published an article on a big giant article on a little small movie called Giant from the Unknown, a 1950s classic creature beware about a giant from nowhere who actually is a Spaniard buried in the ground. So we actually do know where he's from. So do check out that article and stay tuned next week for my article dealing with not Cocaine Bear, but another bear from the 70s. So stay tuned for that.
Oh,
Yogi.
Wow. Okay. I can hardly wait.
He's talking about the origin story of the Dare Bear, folks.
That's right.
I don't
Bobby,
like the Dare
what's-
Bear. The Dare Bear killed Joe Camel. Okay, bring Joe Camel back. Joe Camel was cool.
Oh man, uncancel Joe Camel. I'm down for that. I will get behind that.
Austin
We need more
Powers can
kids.
hang
We
out
need
with
more
him.
kids smoking cigarettes.
And again, more teachers in the 90s going, don't do drugs. Yeah, baby.
Kids need to escape the vape and get into real cigarettes. That's my campaign.
Joe
Bobby,
Cool.
what's coming up on Still Fabulous?
Next interview we got is Daisy De La Hoya from the VH1 royalty era of reality TV, Rock of Love, and Daisy
Oh,
of Love coming up
yes.
next
Ooh.
week.
Ian,
Oh,
yours was good,
man.
but his is better.
Oh man, that's the perfect ending right there. I'm not gonna top it. So all I'm gonna do is say that you Fandom fans might want to come back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when the VCR unlocks the musical key and finally gets the power for our Masters of the Universe episode.
Oh,
As
wow.
always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help is to smash that like button, leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom Spotlight, the Hollow 9 Network, and Pop Culture Punk. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.